Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and today this is a live episode, but it's not going to last very long because it is just a little bit of commentary, and I'm also trying something new, which is that it is broadcast live at 360p, but as soon as the recording is done, or the live segment is done, YouTube is going to re-render this in 1080p, and we're going to see how that works. So it's something that I'm trying before we do a big live extended show. So I have a great question here from David, and he says, "Hi, my name is David. I have a question for you. I work in the fast food industry. No, I don't own anything. I am 21 and I work as a cook. I do like my job, but a lot of people I meet are total dicks. And I have had food and drinks thrown at me as well as change. It sucks. Well, except for the change part, until my boss told me that I couldn't keep the money that was thrown at me." So he says, how do you deal with shitty people? And I gotta say that I have a lot of experience with this. I don't know if you guys know it or not, but I drove city bus in Portland for about 4 years. I got hired when I was 21, and then I had to work really, really crappy routes. At first, when you're paying your dues, when you're just starting out, in bus driving at a place like City Transit, it was TriMet in Portland. It was all union, and you know what? A lot of the really crappy people that I encountered were people I worked with. I couldn't believe that some of the bus drivers were just so insane, and they would use the in fact, you know what, I don't need these for the live show now that I've heard the intro. They would use the union as a backdrop, and they would, I know that this is kind of off the subject of what David is asking here, but they would totally abuse their rights and everything being in a union. Whereas when I worked non-union jobs, because I used to be a truck driver as well, it was much, much different how you were treated and how people reacted to different things, and the work ethic. I worked government jobs a few times, and actually some of the worst people were the people I worked with. Now, I worked with some incredible people as well, but it upset me very much so at how poorly people considered their jobs and how they treated the company and everything. But what that leads me to is that I did, like I said, I worked as a bus driver for 4 years, and I, in the very beginning, I had to do split shifts. I worked the AM shift and the PM shift, and it was only part-time. And so I'd work for 2 hours in the morning, doing one trip into town, and then I'd work for 2 hours in the evening rush hour for a trip out of town, and it'd be 8 hours in between. Oh man, that was hard, but I had to pay my dues in order to get up to a point where I could get a better route. When I did get a better route, and most of those people were business people. Not many of them are going to give you a bad time no matter what streets you're going down, even if it's through bad neighborhoods. Maybe in the afternoon you'd catch a few people that had started drinking early or whatever, but for the most part it was fine. But when I went full time, I didn't want to split shift. When I had enough seniority to work full time, I no longer wanted a split shift. I wanted to actually, just work one shift straight through. Split shifts take up so much of your day, and that time in the middle can be wasted. Especially if you end up with a split shift that has like 3 hours in between, something like that. Then you have you have this time period where it's not quite long enough to get a lot of things done. You might be able to go out grocery shopping or something in between, but then your stuff has to sit in the car for the rest of your shift. And unless it's frozen goods and you live in Alaska, that could be a problem. So anyway, I had really, really bad customers. And I'm trying to think of examples of different things. And I've thought many times about telling these stories on this channel. And I guess you guys can tell me whether or not you want to hear them. But, I once had a lady try and put my head through a window while I was driving down the road. I think she was drugged out. She didn't realize that that if she put my head through the window and then the bus would crash, and she was on the bus. So that is a person that I guess I'll just tell you about that one. I had long hair. I have no hair now. My hair is so much thinner. I used to have hair that was probably 3 or 4 inches below my shoulders, and nice and wavy, and I really had a great rock and roll hard rocker hairdo going on there. It wasn't a mullet. It was just I don't know, I guess in the 80s when we feathered it back and stuff. And she was upset because she got onto the bus and she throws like a dime into the machine that counts the change. And so I see it says like 10 cents, and I'm like, okay, where's the rest of it? I think at the time it was like $1.30 or something like that to ride the bus. And she's like, I don't have it. I'm sitting down. You're taking me. And I like, I'm like thinking, wow, this is rude, and I can't believe that she doesn't have any money, and that, I don't know what the heck she's thinking. So I stop and I open the door and I say, no, this is the way you're getting there. It's on foot. You got to pay and everything. And she had a real cow about it. In fact, she came at me and she grabbed my, so finally I'm deciding, okay, it's not worth arguing with her. I'm just going to let her be, which is sometimes what you have to do. And so I started heading out, and then she was upset. She was being really mouthy to me, and I probably mouthed back to her, which was probably the wrong thing to do, but that's how I was. And she came up and she grabbed my hair while I was driving down the road and started banging my head up against the window and everything. And I got up and I physically carried her off the bus, but shut the door and move on. But that is I didn't deal with people the best. When it comes to customer service, I would tell people that they were wrong and stuff. And I was younger then and everything. In fact, David, I was the same age as you. I would tell people that they were wrong, and I would tell people that they needed to do the right thing and everything. And you know what? I've come to learn that it was not my place as a bus driver to tell people that. It was all right to stick up for myself and for my own rights and everything, but if someone wanted to cheat the system, if someone wanted to try and get away with, riding the bus for free or for lesser pay or whatever, my personal safety and the safety of the other people on the bus was not worth, disputing that. And so, it has to be that the customer is always right. And I know that that's really hard to deal with, especially when you know that you are right. But especially when you're face-to-face with people, you have to do everything you possibly can to make that person feel respected, to make them feel listened to, and to make them feel like they're getting what they need and want. And, of course, if you're flipping burgers or whatnot and you're working the cash register and somebody, throws down a dime and says, "Give me a goddamn hamburger," you can say, I'm sorry, but, or you can say, okay, that'll be, $2.50 or whatever. And they're like, all I got is this dime. Well, you know what? Now that I am a little bit older and wiser, I might handle a person like that by saying, so you're telling me that you're hungry and you don't have enough money to buy some food. Is that what you're telling me? And then if they said yes and they calmed down and everything, I would do whatever I could to get them some food. I'd talk to my manager. I would, I might even ask the other customers standing in line to help that person get a meal. And showing that kind of compassion to somebody who's being so rude and everything will show an incredible amount of strength on your part, incredible amount of character and compassion, and really is something that every other person who witnesses that will be able to use that as something to strive for, to on how to be a better person. And that takes an incredible amount of strength, inner strength, and everything to be able to stop in the face of someone giving you crap, treating you very poorly, and have a little bit of compassion. There are other, instances where that's not okay, but I'm just trying to think of your interactions, working at probably fast food or whatnot, that you probably get a lot of really crappy customers. And you get people who are drunk, which that's a different story. Someone who is drunk and stuff, they can be dangerous to you, and you should refuse them service, and you should ask them to leave, and even if they have money, because every other customer in the restaurant deserves to feel safe and not threatened and everything. So that would be a time where I would use my physical presence, my size. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", and I'm I don't consider myself to be somebody who is a big physical presence, but I guess that I am. I get told that I am all the time. I just am who I am, and I don't like use my size as a threat or anything. But if there's a threat to other people or whatnot, I will definitely stand up and get in somebody's face. So, David, I hope that helps, and helps give you some ideas on how you can work with difficult people. You really can disarm difficult people with compassion and with listening to them. And that may sound really strange and everything, but it does work that way. And in fact, there is something that I saw this chart one time. And it came from the Church of Scientology. And, I don't agree with the Church of Scientology or whatnot, but it was this scale. And it was called the tone scale. And it was about your inflection in your voice and everything. And about how somebody comes in and they're really angry and they're talking to you like this. And where they are on that scale, that they're much higher. They're up in this anger zone. or down below. I can't remember, but what? Actually, that's down below. That's below the medium, like the where I'm talking right now. And someone who's really high on it would be like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy! You know, I can't believe this. Oh, I just love your hamburgers." And so that would be high on the scale, you know, euphoric, happy, and everything. And down in the medium is like normal range, and then there's the areas that are, you know, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm angry, I'm violent, I'm treasonous, I am a threat to everyone around us, and so what you need to do to get into communication with people is you have to match their tone. And this may sound pretty crazy, but this guy who's you know, yelling at you or whatever, you know, it may be your turn to say, "Hey, listen," and to catch their attention on the same level that they're at, and then say, "I understand," you know, you're still talking really strong, "I understand you don't have enough money, but let's talk about this for a second and I'll see if I can get you a meal." Do you see how I came down or I came back up in the scale, and how I brought it back to the center into a normal? And if you can get them to respond, you should hear that they are that they are adjusting their tone, and you can get them to calm down, and they'll be able to listen better when they're in that normal range. You know, whether it's really high that they're euphoric and really happy, or really low that they're angry and depressed, they can't hear as well. This is why, for you who are parents who are in a shouting match with your teenager, they can't hear you. They just can't. And you guys, when you live at home and your parents are yelling at you and everything, think about this, that if the yelling at you is about something that you did, and your parents are really, really upset and they're way on one end of the scale or the other, then if you bring them back up to a normal range by you know, working on this tone scale, and you know, just bringing them back towards a normal, a step at a time, you'll have good communication with them, whether you're the parent or whether you're the kid. And it can be used in either case. And I can tell you that that is the most effective tool I have ever used in my life for disarming people who are difficult and bringing them back to reality, and you know, allowing communication to happen. Because once communication can happen, then you can actually make a difference and communicate and get through to actually what's needed and wanted. You know, everyone who has objections are actually concerns that need to be addressed. And so when they object to anything that you're saying, you can turn right around and say, "Okay, I hear that objection. What is your concern about that?" and everything. And they should be able to tell you why something or whatnot. And then as you learn more about what's important to them, it totally disarms them, and it allows you to help them, whether they realize it or not. So anyway, David, thank you for the question, and I enjoy telling those old stories about when I used to be a bus driver. You know, I got shot at before. I had beer bottles thrown at me while I was going down the highway that like busted through windows. I had a gang shootout on my bus one time. I did other pretty amazing things, like I had this woman in a wheelchair who I picked up at the bus station. I was the last bus down there, and I was running late. And because I was running late, I didn't pick her up at the bus station. I was running late going down toward the bus station, the Greyhound station. And because I was running late, she missed the last bus for the night, and she was in a wheelchair. She was going to the coast. And in that instance, I ended up requesting from dispatch that I drive her to where she was going to go, out on the coast. It was probably 120-mile round trip. And I did that. I took her out there and dropped her off at the coast in a TriMet bus. Did a lot of wonderful things and everything. So anyway, you guys can tell me if you want to hear more of that kind of stuff in the future or not. So since this is being broadcast live, those of you who are watching it live right now, the ending that I'm going to play here, you won't be able to click on any of the links because they won't be there yet. So, but if you're watching the recorded version of this, you'll be able to click on any of the other videos and see them after this. So, thank you very much for watching. I'm Marky Dragon. Take care.
You like that, don't you? Eyebrows are even black. Have my aunt put it on. Makeup. Yeah, it's not really dyed. The eyebrows aren't. Yeah, like these. I was listening to dubstep before a lot of you were wearing diapers, alright? You like that, don't you?